head-to-head Microtech Cypher versus Vespa clone Cypher. Hey gang, this is Mike with MrNoFluff.com. Always remember, you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you ever imagined. Romy. Anyways, guys, let's get to this knife review. Now, I like to put this disclaimer out there that I bought both of these knives. This is the Microtech Cypher MK7 with my own money. I spent $525 for this knife. And I bought this knife with my own money also, which is the Vespa clone of this knife. And this cost me $117, maybe 120 bucks, okay? So both of these knives I bought with my own money. Therefore, I can give you an honest review without the fluff. Now, if you watch a lot of the YouTubers out there, no disrespect to them, most of them are getting these knives in, like, you know, the manufacturer's giving it to them to do a review, or a dealer's giving it to them, or they're in some kind of community where they get samples of these knives, these YouTubers, and they do reviews for you. So they're always giving these, like, you know, raving reviews. But if you tally up the negatives and the positive, end of the day, it's a positive review because they're fluffing it for you, right? Where I don't have a dog in the race. I bought this stuff with my own money. I worked hard for my money, so I'm going to give you an honest review without the fluff. Now, why do I have this gold here? Excuse me, guys, I'm freestyling, drinking some tea. Well, it's because I don't want to compare currency, because this is 525 bucks, but what that means is it's going to cost me 40% of my gold to get this, because currency is being printed by central bankers, but that's a whole different story. That's why, you know, I'll always talk about gold versus the cost of something versus currency. So for this one, it's going to cost maybe 10% of the gold to buy. This one's going to cost 5 times the price of this to buy, okay? 117, 120, 525 bucks, okay? So let's dive in and let's show these knives real quick. This one is the Microtech Cypher. There was only 100 made. I got 63. It has the bronze or the tan hardware on it, the buttons, and here's the play. Beautiful knife, beautiful blade. I mean, amazing knife. Like, I can't lie to you guys. Very, very cool, right? Great play. Very, very smooth. The smoothest Microtech I've ever owned. And I've owned over $3,000, if not more, excuse me, of Microtech. So I'm I could say Microtech expert, because I've owned 2 Ultratechs. I own the TX85. I've owned this. I've owned a Halo. I've owned this. So I've owned a lot of different Microtechs. I've also owned the newest one that's coming in the mail. So again, over $3,000 of Microtech. So, you know, honest review from a guy that actually owns a lot of Microtech, and I still own them, okay? So now let's look at this one. This is a Vespa. It cost me 1/5 of the price of this one. These two are apple to apple comparison, because the steels are exactly the same. The materials are exactly the same from the firing button, everything. And this is the older model of this one. Okay, this is the newer model. This is the older model, but they're basically the same exact knife. Now with the Vespa, okay, I do have a little different blade. I have a Tonto, but it does come with the fiber or something inlays. I forgot what the name of it is, guys. But the steel is exactly the same. It comes with the M390, same as this. So again, they're both made out of titanium, aluminum, and M390 steel. Okay, so they're both amazing knives. This one just cost about 1/5 of the price of this one. So let's dive in and do an honest review. Okay, now, first thing I want to talk about is the wiggle play, because this is a big deal. On the actual original knife, there's a lot of play. Listen to this. I don't know if you guys can hear that. All right, now listen to this. Okay. There's no play in this, but when I move this, there is play in here. So one of the very negative things about this, the original article, which cost 5 times more, 525 bucks, is there's massive play for a knife that's $500. A lot of play. Okay. Now I know that OTF, they need, you know, out the fronts, they need room to play. But again, I've owned a lot of Microtechs, and I would say this has more play than my other Microtech. I mean, definitely has way more play than my Halo, right? Way more. Okay, you don't hear that one squeaking. Okay, so that's one of the negative things about this, is there's too much play. Even here, you can hear it. Now, this knife does the same thing, okay? This knife is from Vespa, and this one has too much play. When before I bought the original article, I wanted to get a clone and see if I liked it. So I bought the clone, I spent 120 bucks, 117. I liked it, I carried it. I said, you know what, let me get the original article, because I thought that it's gonna fire harder, okay, which I'll get to, right, in a second. But now that I have the original article, there is not much of a difference between these two in quality, okay? This one actually fires harder than this one. So I was disappointed at that, but I mean, they both fire with authority. This fires a little harder than this one, okay? But what led me down on the Microtech Cypher is that too much play. Okay, this one has movement too. You can hear it, but it doesn't have that side-to-side play, okay? At the very tip, they both have a lot of play. But again, these are pretty large knives, right? These are not small knives, and I'll compare them with other knives. Like, for example, we can quickly take a look at a Benchmade bug out, right? This is every day. So these are huge knives, right? So, but the Microtech gets at X for, you know, tightness of the blade, and, you know, their ability to fine tune it to have precision, right? So there's not that much play, okay? So again, 525 bucks has more play than the clone. And this is an honest review, guys. That's why I can do these honest reviews. I know there's millions of guys on YouTube, they're getting their knives from the manufacturer, or they're getting it from a knife dealer, or they're getting it from some kind of club they're in, that they're mailing out these knives to these YouTube reviewers because they know the reviews sell, and they're giving fluffy reviews, right? That's why I've done what I've done, because I bought the fluffy reviews, I bought a bunch of crappy knives, and I was disappointed, and I said, no more, I'm gonna tell the truth to people, right? And so that now allows manufacturers to work on their game. You know, if a clone, you know, is as good as the original, I'm gonna tell the truth. I own both. I don't have a dog in the race. I don't care who you buy or whatever. You know, I don't have a dog in the race. I don't own any of these companies, right? I've owned both of them. I spend my own money on both of them. But, you know, I would personally start off with the Vespa. That's what I did. I bought the Vespa, make sure this is a knife that I want, before I was willing to dedicate 525 bucks to buy this one, okay? Now that I have both, I can give you an honest review. The wiggle play in this one is way better than this one. So you can't even hear this one. I'll hold it right there. Very little, okay? Now let's talk about the way they hit. This one is a little weaker. You can hear the power of the spring of this one. Okay? So this one hits with more authority. They're both with pretty authority. They hit pretty authority, but this one is more, you know? Okay. The other difference is that on this Microtech, you know, the pressure is way different than, for example, the Ultratech or TX85, whatever. The other ones, as you went down and put pressure this way, the spring became harder and harder to push. While this Cypher MK7 is the total opposite. It's a very smooth. The further you go down, the level of smoothness is the same. The level of tension is still the same till you hit the wall. Once you hit the wall, then you have that, you know, that fire, okay? Where this one reminds me of the actual Microtechs, like, you know, Ultratech. As you push, the further you go this way, the stronger the resistance becomes, okay? Unlike this one. So the smoothness of the firing, I would give it to Microtech. Now, there's nothing wrong with this firing of this mechanism, but, you know, if you're really sensitive, you know, do we say this is a little more smoother? This one reminds me of the Ultratech and TX85, okay? The way they fire, this fires harder. This has less wiggle in the blade. This has more wiggle, and this fires softer than this one, less authority. Now, another thing I want to compare is that the way this firing button is. This one really digs into your finger, right? I mean, and if you're like to play with your knives, whatever, wiggle with it, then you're just constantly hurting your finger. Excuse me, drinking some tea, okay? I'm not sure what they did different with the Vespa. You know, I'm playing with this knife all the time. It's not hurting my fingers like the way the Microtech does. So I guess this is more grippy, but I've never had any problems with this one. And I honestly prefer this firing mechanism because it doesn't hurt my finger as much, okay, versus this mechanism. But they both work perfectly fine. They both shoot, and they're both cool, all right? Now, let's talk about one of the disadvantages of this knife is that, you know, the pocket clip, I'm not sure if that's the one that I got or is just normal like that. It does have a little play, it goes back and forth, okay? Where this one is solid. It doesn't go back and forth at all. Now, I carry this every day. I use this every day. Has it interfere with me carrying it? Absolutely not. It doesn't do anything. There's a lot of pressure when I put it in there. It's never fallen out of my pocket. Actually feels really good in the pocket. But for honest review, this does have a little movement where this one is solid, okay? Again, both of these pocket clips are pretty amazing. I haven't had any problems with them. They go in my pants, they stick there till I need them, till I request them. When I want to pull them out, they come out very, very amazingly, okay? Let's do a quick comparison. Now remember, this is the older model of the Vespa, so that's why the body's a little different, but pretty much they're the same knife, okay? Flip it this way. I mean, you can see that even this is a brighter one. The lines are pretty amazingly close. Look at this blacker one. Even though this should have more, you know, it's pretty great craftsmanship. Again, the backhand is a little different because this is a different model. All right. Let me get it this way. Now this one has it jimpings here and this one doesn't. But again, it's a different model. Look at the inside of the blade. I don't know if you guys can see, like I can see the blade of this one just like almost sticking out, where this one I can't see it. So somehow the blade sits in there much better. Let's see. See, they both make that noise. So that's the noise on them. So they both make a little play, but the major difference is on that wiggle of the blade versus the wiggle. That's a little annoying for a $525 knife, guys, if I could be honest with you, okay? Now, let's talk about the blade steel. They're exactly the same. They're both M390, just different steel types, okay? Or designs, okay? This one is kind of like spacey and stuff, like Star Trek, right? And the other one is, you know, I don't know, like maybe like a samurai or something. Right? I mean, it's very, very nice, very good steel. They both came out very, very sharp. I mean, they both of them, the Vespa and the Microtech, were both freaking sharp. They were like razor sharp. They would cut the hair off my skin. I mean, the hair, yeah, off my skin, literally on my arm. I was doing that. So they're both very amazing knives. I own both of them. I'm happy with both, but I don't know, you got to decide. I say that, you know, I have the Halo, the original, and I also have a clone of a Halo. And the Halo versus the Vespa Halo clone, you know, the Vespa Halo clone is, I would say, 95% of what the original article is. So let me get it for you real quick. So this is my Vespa Halo clone. Okay, I would say it's 95% of what the original article is. The fire is pretty good, and so on, okay? However, when it comes to the Cypher, you know, I really can't say that Microtech is 5% better. I think that they're both as equally as good. I think that in some areas, the Vespa overtakes the Microtech, like in their tyrants, or how wide the metals are able to function. You know, this one I think is better. There's less play in the blade, there's less noise coming out versus this. But in other things like, you know, the pocket clip, feels like a solid pocket clip versus this one. This one moves, but it's very, very solid. It hasn't came out. It doesn't. This part of it is very, very solid. But just going left and right is a little loose. But it's not loose where you can't carry. It's going to fall out of your pocket. I think it's just maybe the design functionality of it. Okay. They both have amazing blade steel. They both have amazing work that they've done to their blades. Okay. I mean, you have a real fiber carbon inlay, which is pretty amazing. You're not going to get something like that until you step into like $2,000 or $3,000 with Microtech, and you're getting it in a $117 knife, which is like pretty amazing, dude. Like, where else can you go get that, right? Okay. And I've used this like every day, and I've abused this knife. This is my everyday carry abuse. So this one, I've only owned it for 3 to 4 weeks. I've used it, but I haven't really put it into tests where I'm gonna strip the paint away. Okay, eventually I will, but I just got it. I wanted to keep it pretty new for at least a month, right? So, you know, do I think that the Vespa is better than the Microtech? No. Do I think that the Vespa is equal to the Microtech in the Cypher? Absolutely. I think that the Vespa offers the same quality in this Microtech than the Microtech does for 1/5 of the price. Do I think that people should buy the Vespa? You got to make your own decision. I bought both. I mean, I bought the Microtech and I bought the Vespa. You know, if I can go back and do it again, I would still buy the Microtech because I enjoy the Microtech as well. But in some things, for example, in the Halo, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't buy the Microtech one. I spent $750 for this one. It broke. Less than 14 days of ownership. I had to send it back twice. For months I didn't have my knife, and then finally they send it back with a used handle on it, guys. They told me, like, this is the last one we have, and there's flaws with it, but what can you do? And I just spent $750 on that. So versus I would have just rather bought this Halo that cost me like $120. Right? It does the same thing as this. You know, fires as good. I mean, workmanship is as good, and it cost me 7 times less than that, 6 times less than that. So on some things, I would still prefer to buy the original article, like Microtech, like the Cypher. But on the Halo, hell no, dude. I mean, I regret buying my original Halo because it cost me $750 and it broke in less than 14 days. And it's been going back into the shop. This is the second time. I just got it back and I got used handles, guys. After paying $750 and waiting 3 months. Okay, so that's the warranty. Everybody talks about how great the warranty is, but they don't tell you that if something breaks with Microtech, that they don't have these spare parts laying around. And I even have the proof in the emails they send me from the manufacturer. So, you know, I think that's kind of deceptional business practice, right? To say you're giving lifetime warranty where you're, I mean, I bought a brand new Halo. And then it broke and you didn't have parts for it. So I got to get stuck with a used part that has blemishes, even though I just bought a brand new knife that haven't even used. So that's the thing where, you know, if I would have bought a Halo from Vespa, if it broke, I could buy 6 other ones and I still wouldn't be the same. I would be at the same price of my original article, right? So when it comes to the Cypher, I think this is a good product. You know, I give it at a scale 1 to 10. I give it an 8.59. But I think that some people, all they may need is the Vespa that costs them so much less. They're getting the same quality of steel, the same craftsmanship, or very close to it, if not even better, and it's cost way less. The Cypher is great if you are a hardcore fanboy of Microtech, which I think I might be, right? You know, I might be. I've owned so much, over $3,000 of Microtech. That's like some people's car, right? So I might be a fanboy, but I'm an honest fanboy because I want to keep it real and I don't want to fluff their brand, and I want them to help and improve their stuff, right? So I'm telling them this is a kind of a problem when you spend $550 versus one you can get for $120, right? So, but I'm not a fanboy. I'm just a customer, sometimes I haven't been happy. Like when I bought my Ultratech, I wasn't happy with the product. It broke so many times I had to send it back in, guys, multiple times. When I bought my Halo, it broke less than 14 days, less than 15 days. I had to send it back 2 times already, okay? And so since I bought it, I haven't even get to use it. So some products I'm not happy with Microtech's. Other products, like I bought this one, right? From Microtech. Haven't had any problems with this. It's amazing, nice. I love it. No problems at all. I bought my this one, the Cypher MK7. I haven't had any problems with it, but I only owned it for 3 or 4 weeks, so I can't tell you long term. But so far, it's good. I haven't had any problems like the Halo. So is it worth buying the Microtech Cypher for $525? I don't know, guys. You got to make your own decisions. Okay. Is it worth buying the Vespa for $110? I don't know, guys. You got to make your own decision. But I bought both, and they're both very, very compatible. I would say they're both equally the same. One costs a lot less than the other, guys. No joke. And that's the crazy thing about, you know, these Chinese companies, is that, you know, just like Toyota and other companies, they come, they make amazing cars, and they, before they knew it, they're whipping Ford's ass, they're whipping GMC's ass, and now everyone wants to buy a Toyota, if it's a truck or if it's a car, because they're reliable. And so if U.S. manufacturers keep making bad products, then consumers like myself will have no choice but to turn into buying Chinese-made stuff that's as good, if sometimes maybe 5 or 10% less as good, but 1/10 of the price, 1/5 of the price. So to do a head-to-head comparison, I think that they're both on a scale 1 to 10. They're both equal. In this exact product, they're both equal. There's a little difference. This has a little wiggle. This has wiggle here. This one doesn't have wiggle. This one shoots a little smoother, but has less authority. This one, you know, it's kind of like, reminds me of an Ultratech. It's just like the old Microtechs, but it shoots with more authority. They both shoot really, really good. Both of these, this one has never failed me, but I've only owned it for 3 weeks. This one, I've owned it for over 3 months. It only has failed me twice, and it was never in deployment. So it never failed when I deployed it. It only failed going backwards, but 2 times that it failed is because I was driving the car and, you know, maybe my hand hit something that I wasn't really paying attention. That's the only 2 times that the Vespa has failed. Besides that, the Vespa's been a straight, you know, knife. I have both of them. I'm going to use the Vespa for my everyday carry and use it for everything from like breaking into coconuts, cutting watermelons, cutting pineapples, skinning the apple, peeling the apple, everything you can imagine for everyday use, guys, you know. And then I'm gonna keep it as, I guess, a backup, right? Because it's kind of pretty and it costs a lot of money. But eventually, I want to get into it because I want to leave you guys an honest review. They both fire amazingly, no problems. They're both amazing knives. I'm not sure if you're on a budget, then for sure go with this one. I'll leave a link below of the guy that I bought it for, because there's a lot of companies in China that make crappy product, but this is a high quality one. If you are a, you know, a collector, if you are a big baller, if you are a, you know, you really want your steel today, you want to be 100% made in America, then you might want to go with this. If you're a hardworking American and you're trying to decide, should you spend $525 or, you know, 117 bucks, you know, that's why I made this video for you, so you can make a better decision. They both feel exactly the same in the hand. The steels are exactly the same. The quality, from what I've seen of ownership, is exactly the same. In some things this is a little bit better, in some things this is better, but, you know, is it worth the extra 4 or 5%? I mean, not 4 or 5 times the amount. I don't know. You got to make the decision. You know, I'm a knife guy, so I bought it just to add it to my collection. But some things I'm happy with, just the cologne, dude, because this cologne from this company, Vespa, is as good as the original article. And, you know, that's something I'm trying to do a comparison about. But once I've owned the knife for maybe 2 or 3 months and I've actually put a lot of use on it, I'll do a fair, honest review of long-term usage, guys. Okay? Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts below. If you want to buy this orange one, I'll leave a link from the store that I bought it from. If you want to buy the actual Microtech, just Google knife dealers that are, you know, authorized to sell Microtech. There's a lot of fake stuff out there. And guys, don't buy it from this guy called PK Vegas. That knife dealer is a scammer. He scammed me. He sent me death threats. and horrible bad experiences. A lot of knife companies out there, so go with someone else besides PK Vegas. He may even be selling counterfeits, guys. All right, thanks for watching. Much love. Don't take no for an answer. Peace.